Hi everyone. When people think of applying for jobs, they often think of simply applying online first, but it's not always the best strategy because that's what pretty much everyone else does. So I think instead there are actually 4 other ways of applying for jobs that are particularly effective. They are using LinkedIn, in-person networking, getting referrals, and using career fairs or recruiting events. I think they're really effective for software engineering jobs, but I believe that they're effective for other types of jobs too. Personally, I've used a combination of these strategies to get job interviews with companies like Facebook and Yelp, and job offers from companies like Microsoft and Google. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use each of these strategies, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks along the way too. But first, one thing to keep in mind is that the best strategy for applying for jobs is going to be actually different depending on the size of the company that you're applying to. So if you're applying to small to medium-sized companies, then the best strategies are using LinkedIn, using in-person networking. But if you're applying to more popular, larger companies, let's say Google or Facebook, then the best strategies are actually using career fairs, using referrals, on top of simply applying online. So with that in mind, let's go through all of those 4 strategies.
In my opinion, LinkedIn is the best way by far for applying for software engineering positions at small to medium-sized companies. So I'm just going to walk you through how to use it exactly step by step. So let's say you found a position that you're interested in applying to. For example, this one, forward deployed engineer in New York at this company called Palantir. Then, instead of simply applying online with this button right here, I would go to LinkedIn and find recruiters of this company. You can just search for them by typing in recruiters and then the company name. This company is called Palantir. If you're targeting a small to medium-sized company, you should be able to find, at least about 5 to 6 recruiters. Once you find them, I would just add them all by clicking these connect buttons. You can add a note, but you don't have to, just to save time here. So, keep clicking connect on, let's say, 6 to 7 recruiters or so. And once you send those connection requests, just wait for 1 week or so. And if some of them add you back, that's a really good sign because that means that they're at least somewhat active on LinkedIn. And at that point, send messages to only those people who added you back, because I think it's just more efficient that way. You're only trying to, sort of contact people who are active on LinkedIn that way. And those messages can be pretty simple. I sort of wrote a template message here that you can use. It says, hi, first name, and then thank you for accepting my connection requests. I'm thinking of applying to this position I found on your website. And then copy that position URL to right here, and then explain your situation in 1 sentence. For example, I'm about to graduate from a 6-month coding bootcamp program that covers full stack development in JavaScript. And then say something like, I was wondering, would I be qualified enough for this position? If not, is there anything I can do to better prepare myself? Regards, your first name. So basically with a message like this, you'll know, how qualified you are for the position you want to apply to. And if you're not qualified yet, that's okay, because with the second question, you'll have sort of a better idea about what skills to work on next. And then after you send this message to, let's say, 2 to 3 recruiters, if one of them says you're qualified enough, then go back to the website and then just apply here. And after that, if you don't hear back from them, go back to LinkedIn and send a follow-up message. Actually, I have a template for the follow-up message right here too. That one can be pretty simple. It's just, hi, first name. As you suggested, I applied to the position about 2 weeks ago. I was just wondering what the status of my application might be. Regards, your first name. So this way, if they forget about your application or something, you'll be able to follow up with them and sort of remind them about your application. I've personally used this particular strategy in the past to get interviews with companies like Yelp and this company called Xamarin. So it actually works. And I think the best way to use this strategy is to go through this strategy at the same time for several jobs. So in the first step, find 5 or 6 jobs at 5 or 6 companies. and then go to LinkedIn, find recruiters at those companies, 5 or 6 recruiters each, send them a message, and then follow through the entire process at the same time that way. Okay, the second strategy I recommend for small to medium-sized companies is in-person networking. For this, use websites like meetup.com, and to find events, just sort of find something that you're interested in. So let's say, as an example, you're interested in JavaScript, then you can just type in JavaScript on meetup.com with your location, let's say Toronto, and then click groups here. You should be able to find relevant groups here. Once you join one of these groups, find an upcoming event and then just go there.
Now, when you're at one of these events, you should really make sure to talk to the people there sort of individually. And if you're not sure exactly what to say, I already sort of talked about it in my video about how to learn to code, but you should basically find someone who's not talking to anyone else, and then sort of wave at them, get their attention somehow, and say something like, "Hi, how are you? What brings you here?" And then if you don't feel comfortable with that person you started talking to, you should just find someone else. And eventually, if you explain that you're looking for a job based on certain technologies, chances are they'll know someone else who's looking for someone to hire with those technologies. So that way, you might be able to get a good lead with one of these events. Okay, the third strategy I recommend is getting referrals. So if you know friends who work at the companies you want to work at, that's great. You should just ask them if you can get a referral from them. But if you don't, you still might be able to actually use this strategy. All you need to do is you need to connect with someone who's working at the company you want to work at on LinkedIn. So use the same type of strategy as the one I explained earlier about LinkedIn. Add them first and then send them a message if they add you back. And then instead of just asking them if you're qualified enough for the position you want to apply for, just ask them for advice. And over the course of, let's say, a few weeks or a few months, if you feel like you've built a solid enough connection with them, then ask for a referral after that. Now, the fourth strategy I recommend, particularly for large companies, is using career events and recruiting events. So these events are usually held at universities, but sometimes they're held at public places too. So find one near you and just go there. And I think your goal at one of these events should be to give out at least 10 copies of your resume if there are 10 companies there. So bring about 20 copies of your resume just to be safe. And when you're there, try not to spend too much time on any single company, and then just keep giving out your resumes. Okay, and if you want to talk to a company there you know nothing about, you can actually just ask them what they do by saying something like, "Hi, could you explain what your company does exactly?" And by the way, when I was at my university, I noticed that these events usually don't check for your student IDs. So I think if you're not a student at the university where this kind of event is held at, you can probably just sneak in and then start giving out your resumes. And actually, I don't see anything wrong with that because you're looking for a job and they're looking for someone to hire. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you as always for watching my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.